From life's harshest struggles to unexpected triumphs, a powerful journey of courage, resilience, and self-discovery that shows how ordinary people can rise above setbacks, embrace hidden lessons, and transform pain into strength, hope, and lasting success against all odds. My name is Marcus, and 3 years ago, I was living in my car with my 8-year-old daughter, Emma. Today, I'm standing in front of my own restaurant, keys in hand, watching her chase butterflies in the garden we planted together. This is the story of how we went from rock bottom to building something beautiful. It started when my wife left us for her coworker. She took half our savings and disappeared, leaving me with a mortgage I couldn't afford on my factory worker salary. I thought I could handle it. I picked up extra shifts, sold everything valuable we owned, borrowed money from anyone who'd lend it, but the bills kept coming faster than I could pay them. The foreclosure notice came on Emma's birthday. I'll never forget sitting on our living room floor, surrounded by moving boxes, trying to explain to my daughter why we had to leave the only home she'd ever known. She hugged me and said, "It's okay, Daddy. We'll have adventures." That's when I broke down crying. We moved into my beat-up Honda Civic. I'd converted the back seat into a makeshift bed for Emma, complete with her favorite stuffed animals and glow-in-the-dark stars stuck to the ceiling. During the day, she'd go to school, and I'd work whatever jobs I could find, washing dishes, loading trucks, cleaning offices at night. We'd meet at the public library after school, where she'd do homework while I applied for better jobs online. The hardest part wasn't the physical discomfort. It was watching other kids get picked up by parents in nice cars while Emma walked to meet me at the old Honda. It was seeing her wear the same 3 outfits to school because that's all we could fit in our small space. It was pretending everything was fine when I knew she deserved so much better. Those early weeks in the car were brutal. We'd park behind different stores each night, trying to avoid security guards and police. I'd stay awake most nights listening for danger while Emma slept peacefully, trusting that I'd keep her safe. Some nights I'd sit in the driver's seat crying silently, wondering how I'd failed so completely as a father and provider. The shame was overwhelming. I'd see former coworkers at gas stations and duck down, hoping they wouldn't recognize me. Emma's teacher started asking questions about why she was always tired, why she never had school supplies, why she ate every scrap of food at lunch like she was starving. I made up lies about working night shifts and having a tight budget, but I could see the concern in her eyes. Winter was approaching, and I was terrified. The car heater barely worked, and I knew we couldn't survive the cold nights. I started calling homeless shelters, but they all had waiting lists. The family shelter had a 6-month wait and required proof of income. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was working 3 jobs but still couldn't qualify for help because I made too much money to be considered destitute, but too little to actually survive. One night, parked behind a 24-hour diner where I'd just finished a dishwashing shift, Emma asked me, "Daddy, are we poor?" I looked at her in the rearview mirror, illuminated by the restaurant's neon sign, and something clicked. I realized I'd been so focused on what we'd lost that I hadn't seen what we still had. We had each other. We had our health. We had determination. That's when I started cooking. The diner owner had noticed I was faster and more organized than his other dishwashers. He started letting me help prep vegetables, then simple dishes. I discovered I had a natural talent for combining flavors. Soon, I was suggesting menu improvements. The late-night customers started specifically requesting dishes I'd prepared. The owner, a gruff man named Tony, began teaching me proper knife techniques and how to manage multiple orders simultaneously. He'd worked in restaurant kitchens for 30 years and recognized raw talent when he saw it. "You've got something special, kid," he'd tell me while showing me how to properly season a sauce. "Don't waste it washing dishes forever." But the real breakthrough came when Emma got sick with a fever that wouldn't break. I was terrified and broke, sitting in the emergency room at 2 a.m. holding my burning-up daughter while trying to figure out how I'd pay for her treatment. A nurse named Patricia saw us there. She sat with us for hours even though she was off shift. She bought Emma ice chips and told her stories until the fever finally broke. When we were discharged, Patricia asked about our living situation. I was embarrassed to admit we were homeless, but she didn't judge us. Instead, she offered me something that changed everything. Her brother owned a small apartment building and was looking for a maintenance person. The pay was modest, but it came with a tiny 2-bedroom apartment above the office. The interview was the most nerve-wracking experience of my life. I hadn't had a real shower in weeks, my clothes were wrinkled from being stored in the car, and I was exhausted from another sleepless night. But Patricia's brother, a kind man named David, looked past my appearance and saw something in me. He asked about my work ethic, my reliability, my willingness to learn. When he offered me the job, I nearly collapsed with relief. Moving into that apartment felt like winning the lottery. Emma had her own room for the first time in months. We had a kitchen where I could cook real meals. The first night, I made her favorite spaghetti and meatballs, and we ate it sitting on the floor since we had no furniture yet. But we were warm, we were safe, and we were home. I started experimenting with recipes, combining techniques I'd learned at the diner with flavors from my grandmother's old cookbook that I'd somehow managed to keep through everything. Emma became my eager taste tester, offering brutally honest feedback about every dish I tried. Her favorite was always my version of her great-grandmother's chicken and dumplings. The building's tenants became our extended family. Mrs. Rodriguez in 1A taught me her secret for perfect rice and would babysit Emma when I had to work late. Old Mr. Chen in 3B showed me how to make the most incredible dumplings and shared stories of his own immigration struggles. The young couple in 2B would trade babysitting for homemade meals. Emma blossomed in this environment. She'd help me fix leaky faucets and paint apartment walls, learning practical skills while building confidence. Most importantly, she learned that honest work had dignity, that helping others brought joy, and that we were stronger than any challenge we faced. She started keeping a journal, documenting our daily victories and the lessons we learned together. One evening, while making dinner for Emma and myself, I had an epiphany. All these months of struggle had taught me something invaluable. I knew what it felt like to be hungry, to worry about your next meal, to find comfort in simple, well-prepared food. I understood the power of a warm meal to bring people together and provide hope during dark times. I started small, selling homemade lunches to the construction workers at a nearby job site. I'd wake up at 4 a.m. to prepare 40 lunch boxes with fresh sandwiches, homemade soup, and cookies Emma helped me bake. She'd stand on a chair beside me, carefully wrapping each sandwich and adding encouraging notes like, "Have a great day." Word spread quickly among the workers. My tamales were gone by 10 a.m. My soup sold out before lunch. The portions were generous, the prices were fair, and the food was made with genuine care. Soon I had a waiting list of people wanting to try my food. The construction foreman suggested I get a food truck. With no money for a truck, I got creative. I convinced a local coffee shop owner to let me use her kitchen during off hours in exchange for providing her daily soup special. I borrowed a folding table and started selling lunch in the nearby business district. Emma would help me set up before school, carefully arranging the display and making sure everything looked perfect. Those first few weeks selling on the street were humbling. Some days I'd sell everything and feel on top of the world. Other days it would rain, or the health inspector would shut me down for permit issues, or I'd make food that didn't sell and have to throw it away. But Emma was always there, my biggest cheerleader, counting our daily earnings and celebrating every small victory with a happy dance. The business grew organically through word of mouth. Office workers started pre-ordering meals through a simple text system I'd set up. I was getting catering requests for small office parties and birthday celebrations. People weren't just buying food, they were investing in our story, supporting a father trying to build something better for his daughter. The local newspaper did a feature story about the mystery lunch guy who'd appeared downtown with incredible food and an inspiring story. The reporter had tracked me down after hearing customers rave about my cooking. That article changed everything overnight. A successful businesswoman named Carol read the story and tracked me down the next day. She'd been looking for someone to take over the lease on a small restaurant space that her previous tenant had abandoned. The location was perfect. Ground floor of a busy office building with built-in customers. She offered me a deal I couldn't refuse. She'd cover the first 6 months of rent if I'd bring my cooking to her building. The space was tiny, barely 15 tables, with a kitchen that was more like a large closet. But it had potential, and more importantly, it was mine. Emma and I spent every weekend for 2 months painting walls, assembling secondhand furniture we'd found at garage sales, and creating a menu board. She insisted we had a kids section with mac and cheese shaped like animals and Emma's famous chocolate chip cookies. We scraped together money for basic equipment by selling my car. We could walk to the restaurant anyway, and taking on additional cleaning jobs during evenings. Emma helped me practice my sales pitch to suppliers, role-playing different scenarios until I felt confident negotiating prices and payment terms. Opening day was terrifying. I'd invested every penny we had into restaurant equipment, ingredients, and permits. What if nobody came? What if the food wasn't good enough? What if I'd made a terrible mistake? Emma sensed my nervousness and slipped a note into my apron pocket before the first customer arrived. It said, "You're the best daddy and the best cook in the whole world. Today is going to be amazing." She was right. We had a line out the door before we even officially opened. Every dish left the kitchen perfectly prepared, and more importantly, made with love. Customers weren't just eating food, they were experiencing the story of our journey, the resilience we'd built, the community we'd created. They could taste the hope in every bite. The first year was incredibly challenging. I was working 18-hour days, managing everything from cooking to cleaning to bookkeeping. Emma did homework in a corner booth every day after school, sometimes helping fold napkins or fill salt shakers. We were exhausted, but we were building something together brick by brick, meal by meal. Success brought new challenges I hadn't anticipated. As we grew, I had to learn how to manage employees, handle larger orders, deal with food suppliers who didn't take small restaurants seriously, and navigate complex health department regulations. Many nights I'd lie awake wondering if I was in over my head, reading restaurant management books by lamplight while Emma slept. I made countless mistakes during those early months, hiring people who didn't share our vision, ordering too much perishable inventory that spoiled, trusting suppliers who delivered subpar ingredients. Each failure stung, but Emma would remind me that every successful business owner makes mistakes. The difference is learning from them instead of giving up. The restaurant became more than just a business. It became a gathering place for people who understood struggle. Single parents would bring their kids for affordable, nutritious meals. Elderly customers found companionship at our community table. Job seekers could get a free meal and job search advice. We started a Pay It Forward program where customers could buy meals for people in need. I hired Patricia, the nurse who'd first helped us, as our part-time bookkeeper. She understood our mission and helped implement programs to give back to the community. We started partnering with local homeless shelters to provide weekly meals and offered job training to people transitioning out of difficult situations. 2 years after opening, we'd paid off all our debts and were actually profitable. Emma had her own savings account that she was incredibly proud of, contributing part of her allowance each week. We moved into a real house with a yard where she could play, plant a garden, and invite friends over for sleepovers. The most rewarding moment came last month when Patricia walked into the restaurant during lunch rush. She didn't recognize me at first in my chef's coat, but when I reminded her of that night in the emergency room, she started crying. "I always wondered what happened to you two," she said. Emma ran over and hugged her, saying, "This is the angel Daddy tells everyone about. People often ask me for the secret to our success. The truth is, there's no magic formula. It was about taking one step forward every single day, even when everything seemed impossible. It was about finding strength in my daughter's unwavering faith in me. It was about transforming our pain into purpose and our struggle into service to others. The hardest moments taught us the most valuable lessons. Living in that car showed us what we could survive together. Working multiple jobs taught me the value of every dollar earned. Depending on community kindness reminded me to always help others when I could. Every setback prepared us for the eventual success by building character and resilience. Emma is 11 now, and she talks about opening her own restaurant chain someday. She wants to create places where families going through hard times can find both good food and hope. She's already started a notebook with menu ideas, restaurant designs, and business plans. Watching her dream big, knowing she learned resilience by watching us climb out of our lowest point, fills me with pride. Today, when I see a parent struggling to pay for their child's meal, I quietly cover the bill. When I hear about a family facing eviction, I deliver groceries anonymously. When job seekers come in looking defeated, I offer them a free meal and sometimes temporary work. We've created a cycle of kindness that started with our own desperation and has grown into something beautiful. Looking back, I'm grateful for every difficult moment we endured. Without losing our house, I never would have discovered my passion for cooking. Without living in that car, Emma and I wouldn't have developed such an unbreakable bond. Without depending on strangers' kindness, I wouldn't understand the power of giving back to my community. Our story proves that your current circumstances don't define your future possibilities. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're truly capable of achieving. Sometimes the worst chapter of your life sets up the plot for the most beautiful chapter yet to be written. The restaurant is thriving, but more importantly, we're thriving as human beings. Emma is confident, compassionate, and resilient. She knows that challenges are temporary, but character is permanent. She's learned that success isn't about what you accumulate, but about what you overcome and how you help others along the way. Every morning when I unlock the restaurant doors, I remember that scared, desperate father who used to live in his car. I'm proud of him for never giving up. I'm grateful he chose hope over despair, action over paralysis, determination over defeat. His struggle became our strength. His pain became our purpose. His darkest hour became the foundation for our brightest days. This is what I want people to understand. You are stronger than you know, more capable than you believe, and closer to breakthrough than you realize. Your current struggle is not your final story. Keep moving forward, one small step at a time. Trust the process, embrace the lessons, and never lose faith in your ability to create something beautiful from something broken. Emma and I learned that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things when they combine determination with persistence, hope with action, and purpose with patience. We discovered that the most powerful victories come not from avoiding difficulties, but from walking through them with courage and coming out stronger on the other side. Our journey from homelessness to restaurant ownership isn't just about business success. It's about personal transformation, community connection, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. It's proof that no matter how dark your current chapter might be, you have the power to write a completely different ending. The restaurant's motto, painted on the wall where everyone can see it, reads, "From struggle to strength, from pain to purpose, from hope to home." It reminds everyone who walks through our doors that they too can rise above whatever challenges they're currently facing. Today, Emma is helping me plan a cookbook that tells the story of each dish and the lessons learned along our journey. She wants to dedicate it to everyone who's ever felt like giving up, but chose to keep fighting instead. Because that's what heroes do. They keep going when everything seems impossible, and they transform their struggles into strength that inspires others to do the same.